Mm.
Welcome to episode 5 of Hood Franklin. This is Crafty Spaceman, and I'm joined by Dat Mang. How are you doing?
Pretty good, Stan. How are yourself? You sound a
I'm,
little fuzzy there, by the way.
I am, and I'm really tired. My my
I
voice is.
feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
I can't get my mic to stay in the proper location, which is really frustrating.
Yeah, bro, you sound like you came up with a movie or some shit. It's kind of hilarious. I'm like,
I,
oh, okay.
I sound like Kid Boo.
No, not like Kid Boo. I sound like
Uh,
some sort of like dominating like voice over the intercom from a movie, kind of like like Battlestar Galactica shit.
oh, all your battleships are mine. But no,
Exactly. Anyway, how you doing?
I had a really good week.
Okay, that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
How about you, man?
Very busy. It's a very busy week. Got a new car though. Happy about that. No more
Yeah.
aux cord for the win. That's a new W. God,
hmm
I love it. So I can play all the music that I've been listening to recently, you know, through my fucking car like a normal person instead of
Yeah.
just, using a little Amazon speaker.
Oh, that's where you didn't have an aux cord for your Lexus.
It got torn. Like, you know how you yank it,
Mm.
eventually just the wires are just gonna like fail because of all the pulling.
So you
So
were riding around with a Bluetooth speaker.
that or my Bluetooth headphones. So it depends on how I felt that day.
I did that so many times in my car. It got to a point where I was like, I've done this 3 times now.
It kind of got me concerned because I was like,
Yeah,
what if a cop pulls up behind me and I don't even
exactly.
see him?
What
He's
if like
like, "Bro."
driving with headphones is not? I don't like it.
I've gotten used to it. You just say fuck it. It's kind of
Yeah,
hilarious at the same time as terrible.
like I said, I did it 3 times, man, and I just feel like the one thing I need in a car is all of my senses, and having earphones feels like I'm just a little bit closer to dying, just a little bit. So I don't really mess with the headphones anymore.
Hey, good for you, Mr. Safety Man, Safety Stan.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm up safety stands, Mr. Not gonna die stand, motherfucker. Call me safety stand. Let's talk about Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose inexplicably
Mhm.
got signed to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Derrick Rose is Derrick Rose is better than most basketball players. He is not in any way lived up to the potential that he had. A
To
lot of people see his 2011 MVP like he stole it from LeBron or something because he clearly didn't end up the way that he should have. Once again, he worked for the Bulls, which is low key one of the most shambolic organizations in basketball.
Shout out to Fred Hoiberg.
Oh,
In my opinion, Derrick Rose's career is kind of like Penny Hardaway, except for the fact that he has an MVP and Penny doesn't.
damn.
I mean, like they
Wow.
had their moments. They did so well. I would say Penny Hardaway is more loved than Derrick Rose. To be quite fair,
Yeah.
Derrick
He,
Rose is just. I mean, it's only a year, so like I can kind
yeah.
of see why they took him because like he could fill in that role on the bench if he's willing to do that, because like I think he's kind of accepted the fact that, well, I hope he's accepted the fact that he's not ever going to be at his like fullest potential like he was back in the day.
That's true. He's.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him this. He's never been in an organization that's been well run. So,
Oh, that's so true. The Knicks
so him
were
going to the
terrible.
Cavaliers isn't going to help that. But he's never been on a good team.
Yeah, that's also true.
The Cavaliers are the second best team in the league.
Well, when the Bulls were like at the top of the game, their team was pretty solid. It's just, inconvenient injuries and also bad
Exactly.
timing. And
And and
that,
Thibodeau.
yeah, I like Thibodeau. Um,
No, I think he's a great coach. I
yeah.
just think that he pushes you a little bit too much.
Oh, well, then also to like be quite fair, I felt like Derrick Rose just got stuck in his head. Like he was just never the same person after that injury.
Oh, it's a mental thing.
that, and then also the fact that he was coming back when Jimmy Butler was on the rise. So it was like, okay, I want my team back, but it's not really my team anymore.
Yeah, but it's like he's damaged goods, but he still got the ego of an MVP.
Yeah, kind of. I guess it's almost like a Rajon Rondo in a sense. It's kind of funny.
But Rajon, you see, Rajon doesn't care about the regular season. He only plays in the playoffs.
He just turns on the switch when he's like, "Oh, I guess it's time."
He's serious. He starts doing geometry. Like it's all good. Yeah, man. I really don't see how this helps the Cavaliers. I mean, cool, you're gonna trade Kyrie, but I think Derrick Rose is. I think for the value of the contract is perfect. $2 million for Derrick Rose.
Mm-hmm.
He makes 18 points a game. I mean, that's a great contract.
That is a great contract.
But
okay, go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I just don't. I don't give a shit. I don't see how this helps them. I feel like there's just another old person on the team that's full of old, broken people. And now you're trading away your youngest player so you can get Derrick Rose as your starting point guard.
My thing is with Derrick Rose, I feel like he could be what like Sean Livingston to the Warriors if he stays healthy. And if he decides to calm his ego and just play the role,
I think he'd be perfect as a role player. I think he's not a role player. I think he's a starting point guard.
Yeah, well, you mean he thinks he's a starting point guard, but he should just be a role player.
Wait. LeBron is the point forward. I forgot.
Exactly. There's no way he's never going to be the starting guy. But, I mean, it's just like the thing is, if he just learns to, like, fit that role, he can do so much more than Sean Livingston. He can actually score. He can actually move. He's got agility.
Can drive.
Yeah.
Really well.
And his defense isn't, like, complete garbage either.
Yeah. It's just, can he be essentially a whacker version of Carmelo Anthony? Because that's what it sounds like. Because if he's not going to be the point guard, right?
Yeah.
He has to be taking shots all the time. Well, whatever.
Yeah. I'm indifferent. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like, whatever. Let's talk about the real story here. Kyrie Irving. God damn. So Kyrie now he does what he wants.
Well, yeah, you make the game-winning shot in Game 7, bro. Of course you're gonna call the shots. I don't blame him for wanting to leave. Do I think he's got to get like another chance at a championship with another team? Maybe if he goes to the Spurs. Other teams, I don't know. It just sounds like he just wants to shoot the ball more. He's like not having fun.
That's very true. I think that Kyrie is top 10 players in the league.
Oh, he's definitely there. He's definitely top 10 right now.
I think he's better than Chris Paul. I don't think he's better than Russell or Steph, but I think he's better than Chris Paul. Finisher.
I think if you give him an ISO on Steph, he's always going to win.
I do. I agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Steph is a much more valuable player to his team, to any team, frankly, than Kyrie would be. Kyrie can get you 40 buckets, and you're going to lose by 20 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah. Like, Kyrie won't pass as much as Steph, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
But when it comes
he doesn't make his team better.
So, yeah, obviously he wants to be the focal point now, and it's like – this isn't a bad thing either because this gives you an opportunity. You might get something of equal value and a little bit more.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Do you think he goes to the Spurs?
Oh, bro. The Spurs better be giving up like arm and leg for this, out of that. I mean, like, but the thing is, the Spurs just signed a contract for, I forgot who their point guard is, but he just signed like a 5-year deal or something.
I don't think it's Tony Parker.
It's not Tony Parker. It's one of the younger guys.
Patty Mills.
Yes.
I think if someone gave me a $50 million to play backup to Kyrie Irving, I say yeah.
No. My question is Patty Mills that good where, he might be included in the trade, or he's only good because Popovich makes him good? Right?
Honestly, all of the Spurs players, once they leave, they don't become scrubs. Like,
Mm.
except for LaMarcus Aldridge, I don't think I've seen a player who's become worse once they've gone on to the Spurs.
I guess so. At the same time, a lot of the I feel like the Spurs works like a well-oiled machine. You just put, once you take one cog out, you replace it with another, and once that cog leaves, it's kind of hard to make that cog fit somewhere else.
I don't know, man. I think of David West. He immediately left after the Warriors kicked the Spurs' ass. Got a ring immediately. Look at David Bonner. Did the exact same thing.
Well, David West is a better player than David Bonner, though.
I really think that what you learn at the Spurs is ruthless efficiency. You learn basically all your mistakes, and you don't make them anymore. Like, if you watch the Spurs, they just don't make mistakes. They always do what they're supposed to do. And I feel like if Kyrie was in that kind of situation where he couldn't make 40 points a game because Pop's not going to let him.
Well, obviously, no.
Pop's going to teach him how to play basketball to such an efficient level that I really think if they traded Patty Mills and I'm sorry, they got to get rid of LaMarcus. They got to do a straight up trade with Kyrie and LaMarcus for Kev and Kevin Kyrie, because LaMarcus is dead weight. He just needs to leave.
Wait, you just said LaMarcus for Kev and Kyrie?
Sorry. They need to trade Kyrie and Kev for a point guard and LaMarcus.
Yeah, but getting rid of both of them at the same time for those two is not equal value. They won't do it.
Yeah, that's actually true.
It's like
Kyrie has a very cheap contract, actually.
Kyrie's?
Yeah, Kyrie got signed like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that.
we forget he's 25.
Yeah. I mean, another possibility, I heard that he could play with the Timberwolves because he's expressed interest in playing with Jimmy Butler.
That's a super team.
I think that'd be really fun to watch. I also feel like I hope Jimmy understands that he's not going to be the one shooting the game winner. It's going to be Kyrie.
Yeah, I'm super fine with that. Have you seen Kyrie?
Yeah, I am too. No, I'm totally okay with that too. Don't get me wrong. I think Jimmy Butler. I feel like Jimmy Butler just needs to recognize that first.
I think Jimmy Butler has never been on a team where he has ever had someone who's equal to him. I think if he had, he would do it all the time.
Do you think he just never had that same level of respect for Rose then?
I think Derrick Rose couldn't play most of the time. I think he respects Derrick Rose. I don't think he's had an opportunity to ever play with Derrick Rose at Derrick Rose's level.
Oh, it's kind of like how T-Mac and Yao Ming were always injured. They can never play together.
Right. And it's fucking sad because Yao Ming was the shit, but he's kind of remembered for being injured all the time. It's depressing.
Yeah, his foot, dude. Oh, well.
Life goes on. All right. So we're going to move on to the next topic. It's something a little bit sadder. I'm going to let you ride with this one a little bit more, Matt.
Okay.
Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, committed suicide. This is another middle-aged white man who murdered himself in music. And it's depressing. I wasn't the biggest Linkin Park fan. I actually listened to any Linkin Park albums. I didn't listen to the Jay-Z Linkin Park crossover. But like everyone else, I was aware of Linkin Park. I listened to Numb. I really loved the anime video they released for Numb. I just liked all of the songs you heard on the radio.
Okay.
And you really understood from Linkin Park that how fucking depressing that music was. It was a really accessible version of the music, like Evanescence and like Hawthorne Heights and all this emo bullshit that I never wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
And I really think Linkin Park helped a lot of kids get through some deep, dark shit, and I think it's a really sad time.
Yes. For me, when it happened,
Mhm.
it kind of like didn't sink in until a little bit later because I started thinking about it. And mostly because Linkin Park was one of the first bands that got me really into music. It was probably the first band that had music on my MP3 and was excited to listen to.
Mhm.
Meteora, I just re-listened to it today and the first time for like, I don't know, like almost a decade. It's been a long time. And that shit just made me like go through a nostalgic trip of like middle school and how I felt back then, how I felt kind of outcasted from everyone. And I
I'm
really,
assuming you had a bowl cut.
kind of. I mean, I had long hair. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it was. It helped me deal with a lot of shit at the time because middle school was an awkward stage for me, and I definitely enjoyed listening to their music. Like I felt like I could actually relate to it. So to hear that Chester died, especially the fact that he was a cousin of someone I knew from my high school.
Mhm.
So I just hearing that was just even sadder because it's like, oh wow, I actually know someone who knows this guy and he just suicided. But yes, his music will be missed. I really did enjoy it. I can't say I was like the hardest Linkin Park fan, but I definitely enjoyed like Hybrid Theory, Meteora. They were like my favorite albums to listen to when I was in middle school, and I greatly appreciated it.
For sure, man.
Hmm.
When I was in middle school, I was listening to Kanye,
Hmm.
Lil Wayne,
Hmm.
and Jay-Z.
I see. So I think that was a good thing about Linkin Park was the fact that it was a rock band, but then you have Mike Shinoda like rapping the whole time.
Like it was really cool how it wasn't like I said, they took the screamo aspects,
Uh-huh.
but they made it focus more on the lyrics. The music was always different. It was
Mhm.
always cool. It was always
Exactly.
like, okay, I get it. Rap rock is awful. Almost
Mhm.
99% of rap rock is awful.
I can agree with
see
that.
we
Mhm.
can see how Linkin Park's career kind of decreased when
Mhm.
that vibe and that scene became less and less relevant. Like the most famous thing they did after Meteora was make a song for Transformers. I don't
I don't.
associate Linkin Park with brand management.
But
So it's just I feel like they were able with those two albums to create a sound that many people really still love.
so here's the
Does it
thing.
sound relevant today? I'm not too sure.
I mean, like another reason why they haven't had much success is because Mike Shinoda decided to go do Fort Minor, and then after that, he never really came back. Like Linkin Park kind of continued without him. I don't think he came back when he did that Transformers song.
But wasn't the Transformers song like in 2008 when no one really cared about Linkin Park?
Well, Linkin Park broke up around like 2005 or six. I don't know. Someone has to
Mhm.
correct me later. I have to check it later. But
Yeah,
they broke up
the internet
around
will
then.
correct you.
Yeah, I mean, they broke up around there. Mike Shinoda started Fort Minor. I started listening to that, and then they came back, and there was the rapping element was completely gone. So that was the thing. I think that's one reason why I kind of fell out of love with it because
Mhm.
the rapping part was what kind of hooked me in because I got the screamo aspect, like you said, and the edginess and the different types of beats, and I still got someone who's rapping lyrical shit. It was amazing. And it kind of helps you like bridge the connection from going from like rock to like hip hop into like, the other realm of music.
For sure.
So that's why I greatly appreciated it.
Yeah. They were important for a lot of kids.
Hmm. Oh, definitely.
They were like the not awful version of Limp Bizkit and Everest and House of Pain and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I didn't ever cared about that. I
You know,
just
listen, right? It's like, hey, let's listen to Kid Rock. Why? Why? All right. So we're gonna go into our next topic. What are you listening to?
Let's see. I finished Nav Metro Boomin. That was I mean the beats
Why?
were
I gotta ask you. I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you. Why the fuck are you still listening to that? Don't
I
you love
didn't
yourself?
I didn't even listen to the last mixtape, to be fair, or whatever the fuck it was.
You the one who told me you liked the last mixtape. Now you tell me you didn't listen to it.
Bro, I never told you that.
You told me you listened to the Nav tape.
I did not.
Then who was it?
I don't know, but I can tell you this much. I never listened to that. It's not on my hard drive, bro.
So you've never listened to a Nav album?
No, this is the first one. The only time I heard Nav was when he was on Travis's song, and like what Beeves in the Trap.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
yeah.
just do not though. I
don't know who I was talking to,
okay.
but someone has been telling me Nav is really good and I should check him out.
The first time
And
I've
they're
talked to you,
wrong.
the first time I talked to you about Nav, I asked you, should I care? Because you listened to it and you're like, you were very indifferent, and I felt the same way. This time I downloaded it because I was like, hey, why not? Just give it a chance.
Yeah.
You know, I might as well. It's on Audio Castle. Can't hurt. It was, I mean, the beats are great.
Mm.
It was just boring. You get tired of his voice. I can't tell you all the songs I really liked off of there because I didn't really give a fuck. I mean, maybe ASAP Ferg just because it had Lil Uzi on it, but I think that was pretty much it. So if I had to give it a rating, I just say don't touch it unless like you're a super Nav fan for some reason, but I'm not. So I had to give it like a 4 or a 5. That's just out of 10. That's just how I'm gonna rate it.
Belly and Nav
Mm-hmm.
are those rappers and singers that have come out of Canada.
I don't care about Belly.
They're literally more mediocre versions of Post Malone.
Yeah, I just don't care about Belly, dude.
Like, congratulations, Republic.
Mm-hmm.
You found a way to make endless Drake songs, but you have to actually put personalities behind these songs to make successful musicians.
Mm-hmm.
When I see Nav, I see a pair of headphones and an Indian saying the N-word, and I don't give a shit. So yeah, I'm good. I don't give a fuck about Nav. Shout out to Nav and his connections. That's all I'm gonna say. Nav has the most connections out of any person I've ever met. He has zero talent and continues to make incredible amounts of music for someone who has, I'm gonna say it 10 times, zero talent. Trash.
All right, moving on. Perfect Timing was garbage. So I decided to move on to Autobiography by Vic Mensa. You're not gonna get the same thing as an internet tape, but who, you know, I realized that a long time ago. Yeah, exactly. I didn't expect it either. So I listened to it just to see how it was. I actually was a little bit more impressed. Like I was like, it impressed me more than I expected. You know, that's how I felt.
What were you expecting?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting like something very like, I guess, great, just like solid. But this was a little bit better than I would say, like, you know, good.
Yeah.
You know, because he still adds a band element. Like instead of Trap Mensa, you get you know, what is it, melody vibes Mensa.
Oh, for sure.
And
good vibes, Mensa.
Good. Well, that's the thing. He still talks about real stuff, like real shit in Chicago. He still talks about the streets. He still talks about like the struggle, which I still enjoy, but in a singing format, obviously.
Okay.
And there's more. Obviously, you know, he's got like a Weezer feature, which was pretty good. I think he took the beat from a song from Pink Triangle. I can't remember, but it was pretty sick. He's got The Dream on there. He's actually got like Chief Keef on this album, which is hilarious. My favorite song was his song with Ty Dolla $ign. Ty Dolla $ign didn't really do much besides like do the vocals in the background, but it was a nice acoustic and it was just him singing the whole time. It was, I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot. So I was very happy with it. It's 15 songs, which isn't too terrible, but it's a stretch. So be prepared. I give it like a solid 7. So that's all I listened to. Other than that was Meteora today. And how about you?
So I listened to Rex Orange County.
Okay.
I started Googling that after the Tyler album last week, of course.
Yeah.
And wow. Just what I listened to his debut record. And let me see. Okay. Of course. It's called. Let me find it for you guys. Sorry about that.
I remember you sending me some links. Sorry, I was a little busy,
It's
but
called Because You Will Never Be Free.
was that
Rex
the
Orange.
song you linked me?
No.
Okay.
It's called No Love.
Hmm.
But Rex Orange County is this British kid from Surrey.
Uh-huh.
That's their Westchester.
Okay.
So I just rich white kid making a bunch of awesome vibey music. He gets accepted into the Brit School. The Brit School is where for the past 10 years, like all of our British musicians
Hmm.
that have been wildly famous have come there. Adele, Amy Winehouse, that kind of lineage. So
Is it known for its music?
it's known specifically for being the best music school in the world.
Okay, so it's like our Juilliard here.
Exactly. But for teenagers,
Oh,
not for
sick.
grown-ups.
Wow.
So they learn when they're little
Mhm.
and then they graduate and then become grown-up musicians.
Mhm.
So they can just learn and produce in their own way.
Oh, that's
And
so
then
sick.
you listen to this album
Uh-huh.
and what you get from Rex is the American influences
Hmm.
are so heavy. Because like when he raps, he kind of sounds like Eminem, even though he's British. But
Okay.
when he sings,
Hmm.
he sounds like King Cruel. But if King Cruel could actually sing, like he can actually fluctuate his vocals, it's not just a endless baritone. He can actually go higher and lower. He can really use his vocals and
Okay, so he's got range.
he's got range. He really reminds me of Frank Ocean.
I see.
Yeah, like he can rap, he can sing, and he can do them all at such a high level. And the production of his music is so like you remember Aztec Camera?
Yes, I love
A
that
lot
band.
of the guitars are like reminiscent of those 80s, like just perfect guitar bands from England. And this album is really it's honestly one of my favorite albums of the year. I've listened to this album at least 4 times in the past 5 days, and I just recommend it to everyone who you can tell. It's called
Um,
Because of No One, and it's fucking fantastic.
Wait, what's the album called again? Because of No One?
Because You Will Never Be Free.
Okay, because you'll never be free. I definitely need to check this out. You got me really excited.
I listened to these 2 other songs
Uh-huh.
called Skunking Squeak by Chronix. It's a really, really great reggae song, but it's not just reggae. It's influenced by dub and hip hop, but more commercial hip hop in America. It's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to Mi Gente by J Balvin. Mi Gente by J Balvin it's the next Despacito. It's just Spanish lyrics, reggaeton beat, but they do that thing from that Justin Bieber song where they take the vocals of the singer, they pitch it until it sounds like some weird Indian Bhangra shit, and they make it part of the vocals.
Interesting.
It's just an aggressive party song. Imagine lots of twerking, desert sands. It's gonna be a huge hit. Don't listen to it.
Okay. I don't plan to. I've actually been trying to find more like indie shit. So my friend gave me a list. I need to venture through.
Tell me some of the songs and some of the names.
I was just about to do that. Just give me one moment. Let's see. He's told me to check out Charlie Bliss, Steph Shura, and Hooray for the Riff Raff.
Sure.
So, I mean, I haven't paid attention because I talked to him about this, how hip hop has become so mainstream now that like all other like genres kind of get pushed out on the wayside. You just don't even hear about it.
It's like streaming and at least the conversation among popular music is focused exclusively on hip hop.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me, like besides the fact that streaming's been like promoting hip hop so much,
Mhm.
it's also been kind of killing the genre a little bit because not too much of it's like out there, and at the same time, we're getting these trash albums that I just don't care about at times.
Yeah.
Like I still have trouble naming like my top 5 albums of this year so far. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, dude, it's hard to remember like certain albums and which ones you really, really liked and like what you
Mhm.
didn't because with streaming, you just kind of don't give a fuck after a week.
You just move on.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know, in 2 weeks or a month, you're gonna get another album. Before, back in like 2014, that shit
Mhm.
was a struggle. An album would last me almost like 2 months, a little bit longer.
Oh, wow.
Like My Crazy Life, that shit was on my iPhone for a long time.
We listen to music very differently.
Hmm.
I listen to music and then I move on. I listen to an album 3 times. If I don't love it,
Hmm.
I'm moving on. If I love it, I'll keep it for however long I love it. So
Okay.
2, 6, 8,
Mhm.
12 months. If it's Kanye, I have every single Kanye album on my phone.
I
But
see.
I still have every single Terrace Martin album on
Okay.
my phone.
Hmm.
But I don't have the new ASAP Rocky album.
Okay.
I have the first mixtape.
Lift of Ace.
Yeah, like
Okay, okay, we definitely approach this differently because the way I do it is I don't keep old music unless
oh,
unless I choose to go back and put it in my phone specifically for some reason.
okay.
So for me, if I like an album, I'll know because I'll constantly want to play it, or at least I'll get at least like a good 5 plays out of it. If I don't, obviously I just don't care. But for me to determine how much I like an album within a year is like how many times I decide to play it, and I know like I'll be counting.
So the amount of times you play is equivalent to how much you like it.
Yeah, typically it is. Like
Okay.
Blonde, I've definitely played that over like 10 times, dude. Like
I've only listened to Blonde 3 times,
okay,
and every time I've listened to Blonde, damn, that's crazy. Like I still have those feelings of like this is one of the best albums I've ever heard.
right. Hmm.
Okay.
And then like for like Solange's album last year, like I definitely
Oh
played that like a solid 7, maybe 8. I don't
yeah,
know, but it
I
was
stopped
really
counting.
good. Like that's all I cared. Like
Oh man, I think "Cranes in the Sky" is my most played song after "Love Sosa."
mhm.
So let's see.
I love so. I love that song. Loki, can we just take a moment to appreciate how great that song was for its time back then?
Chief Keef is one of the most underrated artists we have right now,
These
hands
bitches
down.
love Sosa.
Like think about how perfect that melody is.
That shit was so
Oh,
lit, dude.
anyway,
I wish he came back along with Waka Flocka, but
he's like auto tuned out now. It's too much.
yeah, no, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
All right, let's move on to. I want to talk about the Tyler Creator album again.
Okay.
Wow, I listened to the album 2 more times. Damn, Tyler really like this is like in basketball
Uh-huh.
when a player just finally becomes like an all-star.
Oh, like a
Like
Klay Thompson.
exact like okay, so Clay can shoot
Uh,
and he has the best defense probably in his conference.
hmm.
Holy shit. Now you're listening to Tyler actually rapping his ass off. Like legitimately rapping his ass off. But it's not just about petty bullshit and raping girls and like hating the media. It's actually like he's talking about Black Lives Matter. He's talking
Yeah.
about the melancholy he feels from his own life, the how sad he feels like when he buys cars just so he can have something to think about. How
Mhm.
his friends don't ever call him or talk to him anymore. How being lonely is something he's never really forgotten. Like it was it was a really incredibly sad album with some of the most like lush and melodic production we've ever
Mhm.
heard. I just really think that this is Tyler's best work since Bastard. Like There's songs here that are as good as French, Boredom, Garden Shed, Pothole, and I Ain't Got
I fuck with
Time.
Bottle.
Oh my!
Watch out for that pothole. Watch out for the pothole.
This album, I really think that I've never been more excited to listen to Not Future album than this one. I'm like, this shit is crazy.
I definitely need to re-listen to it a little bit more because I didn't pull out all the lyrics you did, but I definitely noticed him talking about deeper things, or the subject matter got deeper. I will say his evolution kind of reminds me of like how Danny Brown kind of exploded with that last album. Because before, you know, I thought his albums, well, his first album was good, like Triple X, and then Old came out. It was like, okay, don't know where you're going with this yet. All of a sudden, you drop Atrocity Exhibition, and that shit was just ridiculous. That's how I feel about this Tyler album. Like, he just definitely went over the top, and I definitely appreciate it. And it wasn't too much. He didn't overdo himself, but he just did enough where I just appreciate the whole project for what it is.
Yeah. Besides the last two songs, they're great songs. I don't need like your beat tape section at the end. Those should have been bonus tracks. Like, I think they're great. I just feel like the actual ending of the album, the conclusion, is November.
Okay.
I think, like, and you know me, man. Like, once anything that's over 12 songs, I'm legitimately like, I'm questioning everything you're doing at that point. I feel like just the fact that this album is so cohesive, and then that's a word that I'm constantly going to use to talk about albums, because most albums are not cohesive.
I
most
agree with
albums
you.
are jumbled messes. Like, listen to the last Khaled album. This is how most albums are like. They put the first 3 singles in the front. The next 4 are the artist tries to pretend he has creativity. The last 5 is just the worst songs ever. Just like jumbled up messes that have nothing to do with the beginning. And then the outro is always a piano or some sort of slow ballad talking about how they've overcome their struggles. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And we're gonna see that in the album we're gonna be talking about upcoming later. And you look at this album, it completely throws out all of those structures. Like the song Who Dat?
Yeah.
It previews a song that's gonna come out 10 minutes later for no fucking reason, and it still works.
Yeah, that was the one thing I noticed that I was like kind of surprised it worked, because at first I was like, wait, how come it's not pieced together? But then I started, like, as I listened to it, I'm like, well, I think I'm okay with this, because it didn't sound like the whole album really changed or the tone. It just kind of added to it or something for some reason, and I enjoyed it.
He made an interlude a song and said, fuck it, I'll make another song in the interlude. Like, it's like you listen to 911 Mr. Lonely, it barely sounds like that interlude. It's only for like 45 seconds. The fact that it's like some Game of Thrones shit. It's like, I'm gonna plant this seed, it'll pay off later.
The way you describe how like albums are organized nowadays, though, it kind of describes how Vic Mensa's album what kind of is. You know, but then again, you know, that's just the only example I'm using right now, because that's the last album I listened to. I'm pretty sure we can find that in probably like 5 different albums if we just decide to go through our iTunes right now and just pick them out.
like for me, like most albums I've seen now, right? They're made for the streaming, so you got to have more than 12 tracks. It has to be front loaded with the singles, and the first 7 songs has to have at least 1 or 2 additional singles.
Okay. I don't really agree with the fact that they have to be like more than 10 songs just to be for streaming. Do you think that's
I don't agree with that either. It's garbage. I hate it, man.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the thinking behind it? I'm trying to understand, why do you think this is acceptable or okay?
Oh, I'll give you the perfect example. Remember Hotline Bling?
Yes.
That song came out almost a year and a half.
Yeah, I remember that.
Before Views.
Which was trash.
When Drake puts Hotline Bling as a bonus track onto Views, all of the sales and streams get included into the total album sales
Oh, it's
for
bullshit.
views.
What the fuck?
See, this is how the industry works, right?
Uh,
Albums aren't calculated by how many raw albums you sell. They're calculated by your sales equals your sales estimates album, right? Your SEA.
Yeah.
That's your total album sales,
Mm-hmm.
your total streaming number, and your total digital, and what is it? Your total digital downloads.
Mm-hmm.
So like if we'll look at the first two albums that have the largest SEAs of the year. It's Divide and Damn. Damn, yeah, Damn has sold more physical albums than Divide by Ed Sheeran, right?
Yeah.
But Ed Sheeran, because he has Shape of You, which is the biggest song of the year,
on the
has
radio.
technically sold more albums than. Yeah, and that's how it works. It has nothing, and that's the problem. It's so clearly a money grab. The reason why do you think 2 Chainz put Big Amount on his album and Good Drink?
Good Drinks did so well. That was that was on a mixtape.
It wasn't even his song, and he put it on his album. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's the streaming that's why the Bryson Tiller album was so long. That's why the Khaled album was so long. That's why the next Travis Scott album is gonna be 2,900 songs. The length of these albums are increasing because the more streams you get for each individual track,
the more money you get.
The more total album sales that you get, the more money you get. That's why Drake, all of his songs, right? He'll have 50 songs that chart because everybody will go on Apple Music and pick a song to stream. You go on Apple Music, the first top 14 songs are from views.
So that's the thing I hate about streaming too. Like it defeats the purpose of an album now. It's like
I think playlists are so popping. Niggas love playlists.
Well, that's frustrating.
It's frustrating, man.
It's very frustrating.
Because the albums that do actually stick towards that format, right? That don't just push, let's just say unnecessary content. They succeed, at least to me.
Yeah, but you're never gonna find those type of albums anymore because I definitely haven't found those type of albums like, so far this year. I found a few, but you just appreciate it less. I don't know.
Because look at besides the Jay-Z album, because Jay-Z doesn't need streams. He doesn't give a shit. Like this is how dedicated this man is, right? He's giving up $1 million a week in Spotify because he won't put his album on Spotify. That's what I'm saying, man. Like it's clearly a financial decision. He doesn't need the money, so he makes the albums the way he does. All of the biggest albums this year, I don't think besides the J album, almost every single one has had 13 or more songs. Yeah, even SZA, and she doesn't even make rap.
Yeah, this album was pretty long. It was like 14 songs. It wasn't terrible though. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Like the French Montana album that I didn't listen to.
I didn't listen to either. I don't want to talk about French.
18 tracks. Just no, too many tracks.
Oh, that's ludicrous.
And then we're gonna finish on the Meek Mill album, which I think is a perfect example of what me and you have been talking about. The first 8 songs, he kills it. He just kills it. Like he does what he's supposed to do, and he does it very, very well. Once it gets to Fall Through, and he's singing for the 4th or 5th time, and I don't want to hear melodic Meek. I don't want to ever hear melodic Meek. He's singing in a Jamaican raga accent. And then I'm like, okay, this is 10 songs in. I see. And then it picks up, and you're like, oh, wow, these next 2 songs are really good. And then it goes to Glow Up. And you're like, damn. And then you go to Young Buck America. I'm like, this is cool. And then you go to open and it's like, oh, this is an Anderson .Paak song. Oh, this is a Migo song where they couldn't get all the Migos. And the last half of the album was just unnecessary. Just pointless features. He tries to sound like Martin Luther King on one of these songs. Meek, you are not woke. You don't get to make a Young Black America song when 2 songs before you keep yelling, I am not your role model. Never listen. What? I listen to what these people are saying. I'm sorry you say words, but I'm going to listen. So if this album was cut in half, I'm just be honest. If this album was 10 songs, it would have been fantastic. It doesn't need it doesn't need Fall Through. It doesn't need Glow Up. It doesn't need Open. It doesn't need Ball Player. It doesn't need Price. Oh, and Price is just 4 a.m. in Toronto.
I didn't fuck with Price at all.
The fact that he took that production from Drake is shameless. Like, I love it because of the disrespect, but it was lazy.
Yeah, I agree. I was more hooked in the first half because it was just me rapping, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, that's all we want is you to rap your ass off.
Yeah, and I got that. And then it was like around Never Lose, I kind of stopped caring.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, with Glow Up. And then I was like, okay, this song's called Young Black America. I see what you're trying to do. All right. The only song I cared about was Ball Player. I actually enjoyed it, but then after that, it was just like, oh, okay. He made it way too long. 17 songs was overambitious. I was just like, bro, this is too much. I would have enjoyed it more if it was shorter. But, we can't have nice things sometimes.
And this is to me where, because I'm not in the music industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Meek got to pick these 18 songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can just use my own basic sense of logic. And I can look at all these major artists, right?
Yeah.
All of them are releasing albums with insanely huge track lists. And I think it's diluting the albums. I genuinely believe that, at least to me, what is it? The label is significantly ruining the quality of the music we're getting this year because they found a way to juice their streaming numbers.
We have this thing we talk about at work because we purify like propane gas. So we might make like product that's too good sometimes, like 99.98%. And we had to get that other 8, we had to get that 8 down to like a 5. We joke about throwing turds in there. Maybe it would knock it down to a 5. That's exactly what happened with this album.
Bro, I honestly feel like if I did an iTunes edit of this album, I could make the best Meek Mill album ever made. Like, it's frustrating to me because I feel like we're listening to these albums and we're forcing ourselves to get through them. Because I think everybody knows that most people are not actually going to finish the album. They're just going to listen to it on a playlist. And if you have 18 songs, you have a much higher chance of being on a playlist.
That was definitely the problem with like the Yachty album. The Yachty album was way too long. It would have been a lot better if he just cut that shit in half.
The Yachty album was gross to me. And no, it wouldn't have been good if he cut it into 6. It would have been trash.
It would have been. Peekaboo. I actually like that song. But that album to me was just too much singing Yachty, and I just wanted interesting rapping Yachty. I don't know. I got too much.
I just felt like, but let's go back to, and I want to finish this with this Meek Mill album. I like this Meek Mill album, but it bores me at the end. If I cared enough, I would make an iTunes edit. I would just cut all of the songs. I didn't want to. But I don't understand why I have to go through that work. Like it's confusing to me why these artists. It makes me question a lot of these artists. Like, you're not really an artist; you're an entertainer. Because if you're able to do this to your music, simply because you have a higher chance of getting a minuscule amount of revenue because they don't make money from streaming, man. We know this. They make 0.0001 cents off of streaming. They make all their money off touring and merchandise. So that's the part I don't get. They're not going to make more money from this. It confuses me.
Yeah, that's the world we'll never know until we actually get into the industry, right? So to me, I feel like it's like what you said. They're just hoping one of these songs they put on there just makes it into the rate, gets popular or gets a lot of streams for some reason.
It feels like they're just rolling the dice and say big money, big money, big money. And I don't know, man. It's just, this album I enjoyed this album, but the more and more I thought about how most of the major albums we listen to this year, with the exception of Damn, were long for, I feel, and Tyler's album were long for completely unnecessary reasons. I don't think the songs that were there helped or even made the other albums even better. They felt like filler. A lot of these songs feel like filler.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, this album just would have been better if he didn't put in all that filler. I don't know. Also, you're right. Those Tyler and Kendrick put out 2 albums that like you can actually tolerate, or I wouldn't say tolerate, you enjoy, listening through the whole way through, even though it's more than 10 songs.
Because their art justifies what they're doing.
Yeah, there's definitely no art element or any sort of like storytelling element to a lot of these albums that are coming out nowadays.
It's just like, oh, here's your. It feels like we're at Golden Corral.
I take that back. Big Fish Theory actually had a really great I felt like this it had a nice theme. It wasn't a story, but the theme was very, very focused.
It had a great vibe to it. That was a vibe album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that, and that was 12 songs, which was just at the cusp.
And like half of the songs are like 45 seconds as well. So you're great there.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. Songs sometimes, I never really had a problem 4-minute songs until you mentioned it to me when we were living together. And I thought about it more. I'm like, wow, this song is just a tad bit a little too long. Can you just get to 3?
Dude, I really, you listen to more and more music and you're like, why is this 6 minutes? Well, why does this song need to be 7 minutes? I got shit to do. Move on.
The only song I'll tolerate for more than 5 minutes is Runaway. I'll say that. That's it.
That and Blame Game, I think, are the only ones I can do.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
But those songs are like a story within itself. It's like a mini story within the album.
They justify themselves.
Exactly.
It's like know your value.
I know.
Matt, I think we're going to end it here. This is a great episode.
Yes. We got covered a lot. I enjoyed it. As always.
Yeah. I will talk to you later, my friend. And thank you, everybody, for coming listen to episode 5. You can find me at Crafty Spaceman on Twitter.
Wait, I thought it was 4.
No, it's 5.
Oh, damn. My bad.
It's all good. Or it's 4, whatever. Who cares?
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
See you, Stan.